ADHD, but this applies to everyone. And what we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks and couple of episodes is our food that we're bringing into our body. And food can be one of two things. It can be our medicine, which is what it was designed to be, or it can be our poison. And so I am joined back again with my co-host, Dr. Mendy, and I'm glad she's back. She had a great vacation. And so here we are. Dr. Mendy, how are you today?
Good morning. Good morning. I am fantastic today. I'm really looking forward to this conversation and hope that I can learn something. Every day, I think the more we can learn and apply to our daily routine is only beneficial. You know, I had a guy say to me probably about 15, 20 years ago, he was a military guy, right? And he said, we were talking about like what we were going to have for breakfast. And at that point in time, I was a big junk food eater. I ate a lot of junk. And he's like, well, none of that actually like fuels your body.
Uh-huh.
Like, what? Like, how is fuel important for your body? And so it started me down this journey of like, oh yeah, like what I put in my body actually like should make it run better. So this is going to be a great conversation today.
Yes. So, we talked about the app, the Yucca app, and I know I had some people that I have talked to in the past, and they said, this was a great refresher.
Yeah.
And the idea behind this is to constantly refresh our mind, because we can get drawn into following the common practices.
Yeah.
And having a common life, but it's not a normal life.
Yeah.
Because normal is so amazing that most people don't know what normal is. We've adopted the principles or the properties in our thinking and in our eating because of convenience, that, when they brought the microwave out in, I don't know, the early 70s, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised I'm still around. Based on what I know. And I have a microwave in my house, and I hate using it, honestly. And I try to avoid using it.
Yeah.
But
I have to tell you funny stories about the microwave because I've always used the microwave. Again, my grandma came into the convenience lifestyle. And so they adopted all these convenient things. And so I grew up thinking they're normal, right? So a little while ago, my husband got this little meter and it detects all the radiation, And so I was like, oh, see what the microwave does. And so he put it up. We turn on the microwave. You have to stand like halfway across the room before you don't get any radiation. I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is so dangerous. Like, so because of that, like I didn't realize so much radiation was going into my body as a result of turning on the microwave.
It is. And it's so true, and it's not just one thing. It's the compiling of little things.
Yeah.
What is it? The saying, it's the little foxes that ruin the den.
That ruin the vine. Yep. That's
exactly right.
Okay. Just like my tomato worms. It's a little worm that'll ruin my plant.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So when we're talking about food as medicine or poison, depending on the body, how our body responds to that and what our proclivities are already. So you are not locked into your DNA. That is a fallacy. We know that for a fact. They broke the genome. They know that. You're not locked into your DNA. So if you say that your family history is always going to be allergic to this, well, you can change that by the way that you eat.
Yeah.
And one of the simple things, now you can do a very expensive test, and you can do an allergy test, which is very expensive, or you can do something that is inexpensive and do an elimination diet.
Yeah. 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 Talk about that. I can't wait to hear that.
So the elimination diet removes foods like soy. Let me bring over my list here. Okay, so if you remove things like uh, grains, um, dairy, cheeses, soy, these things are high. Gluten is a big thing. There's so many people that are allergic to gluten that don't realize it,
Yeah.
and they have all these autoimmune issues.
Yeah.
Sugar's a big thing. Corn, I
That
hate to tell
sugar
you.
should be your first elimination, because that one alone is hard enough. That was hard. Besides just like your general processed food, like I had to really start with processed food because I grew up in an era where we fast food became a thing. I think when I was a teenager, Taco Bell first came out, right? And so it was like a new fad. And so we fell into adopting that lifestyle based on the new fad of convenience and fast food, not realizing. So just pulling back from the processed and the sugar, that's a huge win right there.
It is, and especially the seed oils.
Mhm.
They brought out this convenience that you can go and buy a bottle for $3, and it's yellow and it's in a clear bottle, and I don't need to say the brand names, but they're all poison. And you can argue all you want with the facts, but the fact is the truth that those inflammation things, oils, are creating a lot of the havoc and the diseases
Yeah.
and the dis-ease of having a real normal experience, not a common experience. So the idea behind the elimination diet is doing it for 21 days. It's not a magical number, but what 21 days does is it allows your body to reset.
Yeah.
Corn is another thing. Because it's full of pesticides, it's full of herbicides.
Yeah.
There isn't any corn that's not
Yeah.
uh, unless you're getting it from an organic farm. Okay,
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
local farmer, your farmer's market, uh, they have a higher consciousness about it. They're not in it to make you
Right.
know, money over health.
Right.
Um, and when you look at these products that are creating the havoc in your life, you have the power that you can take back. And by
Yeah.
eliminating them, then you can make healthier choices. You can replace. Now, it's not just to eliminate,
Yeah.
it's to what's the word I want to say? Replace it,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And this isn't to restrict you from having fun. This is to create an opportunity for an abundance of living.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it is a lifestyle change. So anytime that we have change, what happens? What do you see that happens in your own world when you took your Yucca app and you went into your pantry? What was your reaction?
Yeah, my reaction was like, "Ah! Oh my gosh, there's nothing in here I can eat." Right? When I went through that app, and a friend of mine now, we have like a little competition going on. He's like, "I found this on Yucca. It's like 95 or whatever." So we're always looking for foods now that are better and healthier, more organic, so that we can replace those. Like you, I picked up on something that you said earlier, which is like let it run out and then just replace it with something else.
Yeah.
So being on the lookout constantly and being able to have a conversation with someone else about it is super healthy as well.
Yes, it
Um,
is. And when you find yourself in that environment of like-minded people, there will always be people that are going to argue with you, okay, that the oil isn't as bad, or well, okay, do the research.
yeah,
And you know
olive oil.
it is taking back the power that
Yeah,
we have given away. That's what this really is about. And some of the things that I want to talk about today, that I didn't know because I didn't have that reaction. So
yeah,
it is once it if it's not in our focus, if it's not in our sights. And
yeah,
some of the things that I did experience when I was younger, and discovering that some of those foods was actually causing me to have that type of reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. A few years ago, I actually ended up in the hospital. So I spent my whole life eating, I was raised very unhealthy and unhealthy lifestyle, but did a lot of meat and potatoes and just spent my whole life living probably this inflammation type lifestyle where my gut totally broke down at one point in my life, and I ended up in the hospital and they called it ischemic colitis. But basically, it was like my gut was so overwhelmed with all the toxicities, with all the bad poisons that I put into my body, that I literally had to stop, take a
Right.
step back. And I did longer than 21 days, but I had to retrain myself to eat. I had to eliminate certain foods out of my diet to stop that inflammation. So I did that. And again, it was such a life changing avenue for me. So the gut is extremely important for your brain health, goes
Yes.
to your brain for your overall health and how you feel daily with energy. So important to understand those foods and how they're going to affect your gut.
Yeah, you bring up the idea about behind energy, and in the last 20 years, maybe even longer, the energy drinks have really they've just blown up.
Yeah.
And there's a drink called NOS, NOS. It's nitric oxide, and I think it has 340 milligrams of caffeine in every can. And I had a guy that worked for me one time, and he's like, "You got to try this." And I looked at the label. I'm like, 340 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah.
My gosh, there's no way I would try that. My heart would explode. And, and that was something that I discovered early on. So I used to drink a lot of Pepsi,
Yeah.
and I would drink a Pepsi in the morning when I woke up. I didn't
Hmm.
drink coffee. I never liked coffee, but I would drink Pepsi, and I drink it throughout the day. Well,
Hmm.
then I started having heart palpitations, and
Hmm.
I went into my doctor. He was a sports doctor, and he put me on the treadmill, and we couldn't get it to do this. But I was laying down, and I could feel my heart just like wanting to explode. And
Yeah.
I went into him when it was doing it. I had that kind of a friendship with this doctor.
That's awesome.
And he's like, "Oh, tell me what you drank today.
Yeah.
Tell me what you ate today." He's
Hmm.
the first doctor that ever asked me, what did I eat and what did I drink?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's
"Oh, I had
mhm.
a Pepsi at 7, I had a Pepsi at 9:30, I had a Pepsi at 12." And he's like, "You're
Oh,
allergic to caffeine."
yeah. Oh my gosh. That something similar actually happened to my husband. Here's a funny story. He's going to say it's not so funny. Same type of thing. He had a little bit of a jolted caffeine drink. I can't remember exactly what it was. Might have been a little bit of one of the caffeinated energy drinks nowadays. Had a little bit of that, had the heart palpitations, sent him to the hospital. When he got to the hospital, they actually diagnosed it with as a gallbladder issue. They did surgery to take his gallbladder out. He was born with they got in there. He was born without a gallbladder. There was
Oh
no
my gosh.
gallbladder in there. And so this just tells you, like, thank goodness you had a physician who said, "What did you drink this morning?" And then later on, we found out no, the heart palpitations were not from the gallbladder. It was actually just the energy drink that you had that morning. So it's crazy nowadays. And doctors should be asking those questions, just like you experienced. What did you have to drink this morning? That
You
probably
know
was good for you.
you know what? I am so glad that you brought that story up, because it just proves that if we're just chasing a symptom, we're going to address it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Let's get to the root cause. And one of the simple things that we can do, and yes, it's going to be difficult. Why is it going to be difficult? Because your community and your surrounding
Yeah.
Okay, there's never a good time to start an elimination diet. Or, I do fasting throughout the year. Like I'll do fasting where I'm only eating fruits and vegetables for so many days, and I'll do it with other people.
That's great.
I'll do fasting or a detoxification. Well, with the detoxification, you can't eat certain foods. Like you can't eat certain things um, throughout the entire detoxification.
Yeah.
And it is to eliminate those products in our body and the side effects of those in our body and the results and the responses that our body's giving us. Because the light is turning red and we're hitting the gas pedal.
Yeah. That's right. That's
And then
exactly.
we're expecting a little pill prescribed
Yeah.
to counter it. And what our body's saying is just stop putting the bad fuel in.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's one of the big encouragements. So that is great that you brought that up, and I appreciate that. The thing about elimination diets is what happens is after about 2 weeks, people start to notice a shift. They
Hmm.
start to notice an energy
Yeah.
that changes. Blood sugars drop.
Yeah.
Sleep gets better. Focus gets better. Brain fog goes away.
Yeah.
Um, Inflammation, aches and pains and joints, all of these things, you know, I don't know how many people I talk to in my postural therapy that I'm asking them, what is it that you're eating?
Yeah.
And when they tell me what their diet is, I say, well, maybe if you backed off on this, okay, just consider it. Some of that inflammation goes away. Now it promotes what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, most people think that they drink more water than they actually do. And they say, well, I'm not thirsty. Well, no, if you wait till you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated.
Right. Exactly.
You know, so food can be our medicine or it
Mhm.
can be our poison.
Yeah.
And, you know, Tony Robbins brings up, and I don't know if he got it from Jim Rohn, but he says, if your best friend accidentally put cyanide in your drink, it would kill you. But if you're putting sugar in your drink, it's killing you slower.
Yeah. Yeah.
If your enemy put sugar in your drink, it's just one of those things. How do we change this? By taking the apps and looking at them and
Yep.
taking a review of what it is that we're replacing, not erasing.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. And not only that, but I think it needs to be a continual process for everybody. Like, even though I've progressed so far based on circumstances of my life, I know that there's places that I can do better. All of us have places that we can again look to see what can we do again just to keep continuing to refine. And like you said, just getting that water in every day. I mean, it's a huge thing. I have to measure mine out and to make sure that I get enough water. But that's really easy, especially if you're on the go and super busy. It's easy to miss that water every day. And that again is just helping flush out. So being mindful of what's going in your body. I know we're coming up to a big holiday weekend, and I have to say, sometimes social events in my life, like we have a big family, and so we're constantly getting together to eat for this and eat for this and eat for
right,
this. And so that can really throw off your kilter of trying to have a healthy lifestyle. So,
absolutely.
yeah, being mindful and trying to manage all the constant eating with family and friends and this. I mean, there's been weeks where we were out almost every night of the week in a huge family party and, just tons of food everywhere. So, how to deal with that in that circumstance.
Yeah, and that is the challenge. But it is making those healthy choices. So it is, rather than having the 3 cupcakes,
Yeah.
okay, because you're going to be drawn to it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's going to be almost impossible to avoid that table because it is a beacon screaming,
I
you
know.
know, this is so delicious.
I know.
I'm going to say prepare your body.
Yeah.
And if you have one, have one.
Yeah, that's good. I had to go to a ladies' meeting about a week ago at church, right? And you're right. The whole table was filled with sweets. And I did all my healthy vegetables and fruits and, protein here first. But then I was like, can you go get me something off the sweet table? Like you are confronted of it, but I had to take one little thing and like stick to that. So yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
great advice. You
Yeah.
can't avoid it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's gonna be times, but making the right and it was an oatmeal no bake cookies. The
Yeah.
best choice. I don't know, but right.
Yeah. And the child inside of us is screaming, I want it. I want it. I want it. Right?
All of that on the table. Right.
Yeah. Yes. So also in this elimination diet, there is, and you're going to find this very interesting. It's called nightshades. There are certain vegetables and fruits that have alkalides in them. And there's different alkalides in each of these. And this is where, what we're doing in this broadcast, in this episode is we're bringing the awareness of, hey, what am I not seeing? What do I not know that I don't know?
Yeah.
And so these alkaloids, they're actually called nightshades. And I made a list of them. Symptoms of nightshades, allergies experienced are congestion, skin rash, digestive problems. Okay, here again, we're talking about the gut. And some of these nightshades are eggplant, potatoes,
Wow.
even cayenne and red pepper, bell peppers.
Wow.
So they have different levels of alkaloids in them. And this is an alkaloid built up is a poison in our body.
Yeah.
So what can you replace potatoes with? You can replace it with sweet potatoes,
Okay.
yams, or cauliflower.
Okay.
Eggplant, you can replace it with portobello or shiitake mushrooms.
Yep.
Replace your red pepper and your cayenne with cumin, white and black pepper. Just understanding when we
Yeah.
understand the foods that we're
Yeah.
ingesting and bringing in. Strawberries are great for you. Blueberries are good.
Yeah.
Uh, there's so many things that we can replace it with
Hmm.
that are better for us, that are going to give us a better result. I mean, who would put 8 ounces of water in their gas tank
Yeah.
with 16 gallons of gasoline? Nobody. That would
Yeah.
be that. It seems in the broad scheme of things, it seems inconsequential.
Right.
You put 8 ounces of water in your gas tank, you are going to have problems.
Yep. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
so this is your gas tank.
Mhm.
Well, this is your gas tank. This
Mhm.
is this is where you put the gas in. So
Mhm.
whatever fuel you're putting in here, your body's processing. And that's what I want to encourage people is, foods that have artificial sweeteners, food coloring. These are horrible. Food dyes, preservatives. These are things that are wreaking havoc on our bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I love that list of what can you replace it with. Because it just gives you things to think about. Even the simple things like replacing the cayenne with white pepper, black pepper. Like that's huge if you just know that it will cut down on the again, the inflammation or whatever that's going on in your body. So understanding that replacement is super. And I know it may not be pleasant at first to replace that. I've had people tell me for years, you got to stop dairy. Well, dairy's my best friend. I love dairy. I love cheese. I love milk. Like to replace that is huge for me. So just one small step at a time. So
Right.
then I would try to transition off of the bad cheese to a type of better cheese. Like it is slow baby steps to
It is.
get to that place. Like, don't just go cold turkey, like, okay, I'm gonna slap this off today. Like, I had a Diet Coke addiction too, but it took me 40 days to slowly wean myself off of that. And every now and then I'll still have one. I'll have to be very careful because once you put something into your lifestyle, it can easily become an addiction. But so stepping that back slowly, I think, is also key.
Yeah. When we talked about the caffeine in the drinks, I went probably 6 months and I didn't have anything, and then I had a sip of Pepsi,
Yeah.
and immediately I felt it, and I went years. I went a couple years, and I was at a gathering, and there was Sprite.
Yeah.
Sprite has caffeine,
Yeah.
and immediately I drank two drinks of it, and immediately I felt it. And so I could not have, and I didn't have caffeine for years and years, probably better than 10 years, 12 years that I did not have any caffeine in a drink. Now,
Yeah.
I ate chocolate, and there's caffeine in chocolate, but
Yeah.
it's a different, I don't know how it processes differently.
Yeah.
But one of the things that when I had gastrointestinal reflux, they told me I needed to stop eating tomatoes, and
Uh,
then and I needed to stop eating a lot of the things that I enjoyed eating. And
yeah.
I countered that by changing some of the things that I ate. So it is the replacement. Okay.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of tomatoes,
Yeah.
um, but I don't have a reaction to it.
Yeah.
So it was the compiling of that, the small increments and the small additives
Yeah.
compounded
Yeah.
gave me a result. And that's what I want to help, bring this information forward.
Yeah.
Knowledge is not power. It is the application of the knowledge that gives us the power back. And we can take back that control, take back that power so that we can have that abundant life.
Yeah.
And we can replace it, and we can get creative again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So one of my creativities is this summer I really want to focus on ice cream. Again, I think you can. So last night my husband and I, he had bought some berries, blueberries, and I we also picked a bunch of blueberries off a blueberry tree in our garden. And the blueberries that he bought were pretty high quality. But again, I was doing the taste comparison and I was like, our blueberries off the vine are so much better, uncomparable. These other ones just don't even have a taste compared to what comes off the vine. So getting yourself, whether it's at the farmer's market, whether you're growing it, being able to eat off the vine makes a huge difference.
It does.
Not just in the taste of things, but also in what is going into your body. So huge difference there too. So if you have an opportunity, huge shout out to farmers markets, to
Yeah.
local products where you're getting a better quality product. Stop there versus going somewhere else because you'll enjoy the taste if nothing else.
Yes. So there are different things that you can do. There are, and I shared a couple weeks ago about a pancake mix, and I want to say, if you want to know more about that, send me a direct message or get a hold of Dr. Mendy, and we will get that to you. What our purpose here is to bring an awareness and say, hey, what could I think about?
Yeah.
What could I do differently for my breakfast instead of Fruit Loops with all the rainbow colors? Those rainbow colors aren't doing you any benefit. And if you have a child that has ADD, or you have a child that has allergies, this food elimination diet, it is not permanent. It is temporary. And our children didn't come into this world. The first thing they wanted was, give me some Fruit Loops. They didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
Convenience gave them Fruit Loops. Convenience gave them Pop Tarts.
Right.
Convenience gave them glutens and all of these things. And now we've compiled all these chemicals on a little child, and they're experiencing something, and we're wanting to know, what can we do that's affordable? Affordable is do an elimination diet and
Yeah.
just see. And it can really be a benefit for the entire family. And it's going to at first because you've trained them manner, and to
Yeah.
untrain the wild animal,
Yeah.
it's going to take a little bit of guidance and a little bit of patience.
Right.
So, it's not hard. It's a style of health. And
Yeah.
that is what this is about. It's about helping you take back the power. Eggs are great for protein. They're high in protein.
Yep.
Bananas, a little bit of coconut oil. Change out your oil.
Yeah.
Just that by itself.
Yeah.
Um, you know, when they brought out Crisco, they confused moms, stay-at-home moms that were baking and said, this is the easiest way to do it. And it's heart healthy. Well, it wasn't heart healthy. It was actually detrimental to the heart, because that's when you started to see heart and cardiovascular issues really take off.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You
Yeah,
know,
those are really good words of wisdom. And I think there was a lot of really great information presented here today. So, again, just examine your own lifestyle and just say, what am I eating in the morning? And then what am I eating throughout the day? Just being mindful of what's going in your body is the first step. So, I just encourage everyone out there to really take a look. And again, like you said, the elimination diet is temporary.
yeah.
It is a good alternative to coming back to fix your own health without doctors, listening to your body. But also wanted to say, I know we've said this before, but also, I hear a lot of pushback from, well, I can't buy organic because it's more expensive. Well, I say pay now or pay later with the doctor bills or whatever, because your body's going to break down. So just making that little bit of investment now is going to really benefit you in the long run. So maybe have a mind shift around that as well.
Yeah, one of the big things is, as I've gotten a little bit older, one of the things that my question now is, now that I understand this, why aren't our practitioners asking us what is it in our diet?
I know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I hear the our doctor says that this is good and this is better and blah blah blah. But I want to know, when was the last time they asked you, when you went in for your checkup, what's your diet like? What are
Yeah.
you eating? The experience that you're having, what is it that you're eating? And
Yeah.
how do you know what you're eating unless you take a log? And
Yeah.
this is where having that accountability with yourself.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. This is about empowerment,
Yeah.
and it's how to take your power back. You've been scammed into believing a lie for so long that, why is it that when you go into a grocery store,
Yeah.
there's one sign in the very back corner that says health food? What is the rest of that stuff in there?
Right. Oh my gosh. I know, right?
Okay. I mean, that's enough to make you say things that make you say,
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
one small little corner
Yeah.
and one small billboard that says health food.
Yeah. That is a very good point. You do have to track down the healthy options in your
Yeah.
grocery store. It is
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah. I was visiting in Florida last week, and I came upon a store, and I can't remember the name of the store, but because I wasn't going to that store, I was going to a store called Sprouts. And
Oh, yeah.
Sprouts is more of a holistic food. Well, this grocery store that was next to it, it said all natural, no junk, no time. So I go in there and I'm looking at their products and I'm reading them. And I'm like, I love this store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I bought these dried white mulberries, and I've had dried white mulberries before. Okay. They're organic.
Wow.
And my granddaughter was just devouring them. She's like, mulberries, mulberries, mulberries. And it,
Wow.
you know, it's amazing when
Yeah.
we expose ourselves. I never had them before. And
Yeah.
I bought them because I did Life Mastery, and we did this fasting and detox, and white mulberries were on the list. And I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know. I, I bought them. I wasn't sure about them, but
Yeah.
once I tried them, you know, they got a kind of consistency of a raisin. But these are some of the things that when you explore other
Yeah.
possibilities, you can have a greater outcome. And
Yeah.
that's what this is about. So I want to thank you again for joining me. And I love our conversations
Yeah.
and the way that we're able to empower moms and also curb this stigma of ADD and ADHD. And then it's not, our power doesn't come in a pill, it comes in our proactive responses,
Yeah.
and how we become the physician for ourselves.
Yeah. That's right. I love that phrase right there. Become the physician for yourself. Listen to your body. Everybody is unique. So learn to listen to your body first and foremost. Love that.
Exactly. Okay, so just one little plug away. You know, uh, if you can't predict the future, okay, you can create it.
Yeah.
So if you want to know more, book a call with me or book a call with Dr. Mandy.
Yeah.
Let us help you navigate through this. If you could do it on your own, you would have already done it. And the other thing is, we can't do it on our own. On our own, we were
Yeah.
designed to be in community, and
Yeah.
having that support and navigating through those challenging moments of, hey, I'm getting headaches. Why?
Yeah.
Because your body is detoxifying. That's why.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm
Yep.
irritable. Why? Because you're getting the toxins out of your body.
Yeah.
Once that passes, now that little child inside is not going to be screaming and throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
So, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. And here again, if you've enjoyed this, you know somebody that could use this, like, subscribe, and share this video with those that you know. And we'll continue to bring you more and more empowerment tips that you can apply to your life every day. Have an outstanding weekend.
See you next